What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Widebody Nation. To be honest, I really enjoy the C8. I think it's a great car, but there's one major problem with that car, and it's the brakes, and they already broke. We'll do a mileage check, but we're at about 2,500, 2,700 miles, and it's just unexcusable the fact how the brakes are performing. So in the next video, we're gonna do an actual brake test between these three performance cars right here. We got the C8 with the Z51, we got the 2019 Grand Sport with the big brakes on it, and we got the sleeper, the Subaru STI S209. And let me tell you, these brakes on here are no slouch. It's not just the decals that makes this car amazing with that Widebody Nation decal. This car is ready to play. I think the C8's gonna get smoked. All right, so in this video, I'm gonna actually drive the car around for you guys and describe the issue that I was having with the brakes, the feel, the sound, the entire issue, and how the dealership and I took care of it because it was repaired under warranty after I did some screw tightening. I'll actually go over what happened with you guys, like the specs, how bad the brakes were out of alignment, all that craziness. And then at the end, I'll kind of intro the way we're gonna test this out and the possible actual fixes for these brakes that I would say are subpar compared to the rest of the car. I'm sure they're fine brakes for like a Toyota Camry, or maybe even like a, I don't know, even on a car that's okay, that's kind of fast. But I mean, on this car, it goes 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. You can't be running around with some mediocre brakes on a car that can go 0 to 100 in no time. So with that being said, let's jump into the car, do a mileage check, and let's open this case up. While I'm hopping in, comment down below the best brakes you've ever felt on a car. It can be performance car, track car, you know, some big brakes, maybe some carbon ceramics. I saw some carbon ceramic brakes on a 2019 ZR1 at the gas station yesterday. If you guys follow us on Instagram, you guys would have seen that as well, but whew, it had some good brakes. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Widebody Nation. Change that subscribe button from red to gray. Subscribing automatically enters you to win Apple AirPods Pro. Drawing is at 5,000 subscribers on a live stream, and check out the links below for more added value. Let's get this thing started. All right, so we're inside the C8. Quick mileage check. 2,822 miles. Now, I just looked at the paperwork and I brought it to the dealership here in Columbus, Georgia, around 2,650. So we've put about almost 200 miles on it since the brakes were fixed. Now, what was wrong with them? We'll go for a quick cruise, and I'm gonna describe what was happening with this C8. Keep in mind, I've had this C8 since about early December, and I've put up to the point of turning into the shop, put about 2,500 miles on it. A mix of highway, back roads, did some acceleration pulls, but never took it to the track, either straightaway track or like, track. I mean, really just normal driving. And as you guys saw in the intro, we've got the S209, we've got the Grand Sport, I've got the Charger, I've had the Supras. So I've had plenty of fast cars, driven plenty of fast cars. So it's not like I got this like crazy bug and was like, oh, I want to beat on the C8 so bad and blah, blah, blah. So really just, normal, little bit spirited driving, but nothing crazy. I mean, it's been so cold out when we were back in Tennessee that it was almost not good to drive the car fast because it was too cold out for the tires. So anyway, what was happening? Well, at low speeds like we are right now, going from 20 down to 0 or down to 5, it is a dual clutch transmission, so it's a little bit lurchy on the downshifts, and it, especially in sport mode, it downshifts through pretty much every gear for you. So you definitely do get that engine braking, and it's not like CVT engine braking. So you're getting the downshifts, and I'll try to imitate it right here a little bit, but it's a little lurchy, but it's cool, supercar, C8, whatever. So we'll slow down real quick. Yeah, there's a couple downshifts. So we went from 4th to 2nd there. So that's normal, little lurchy, right? Well, basically, ever since I got the car, I'm familiar with bedding in your brakes. I did that with the S209, the Corvette, other Corvette, not so much, not really conscious about it. But with this one, I did try to wear the brakes in properly, stopping from about 60 to 10 mile an hour, consistently about like 10 times, but not heating up the rotors, not heating up the pads too consecutively there. Over time, probably at about 1,000-ish miles, I started noticing what seemed to be kind of a, you know, a little bit of a shaking in the pad feel or in the brake feel, but the transmission was kind of the excuse for that. You know, like, is it the transmission? Is it the brakes? So kept driving it, seeing if they would just work itself out, and just, it really didn't. Just kept kind of getting progressively worse. You know, moved from Tennessee to Georgia. Everyone who I've let drive the car didn't really comment on the brake feel, like they didn't think it was warped, but some of them have said that they were not as impressed with the brakes as they were hoping. So with that being said, I moved down here, brought it to the dealership because I wanted an oil change. Side note on that, the Chevy owner's manual does not recommend a break-in oil change, not a 500, not a 1,000-mile oil change. First service for this car is technically at 7,500 miles, which is banana land. That's ridiculous. So Chevy, I don't know what you're doing on that, but I took mine in at 500 miles for just a quick checkup, and then I took it in at 2,500 for its first full synthetic Mobil 1 oil change, and obviously multi-point inspection. So I told the techs, I said, hey, like, you know, I might just be tripping out here, I might just be imagining this, but I think the brakes, there's something wrong, and it felt like the rotors were warped, or the pads were really jacked up, but I thought it was the rotors. They called me back like 2 days later, and they said both a couple of their techs and a manager drove it, and they agree that the rotors felt warped, so they, you know, take the wheels off. They did all the measurements, and we'll go ahead and let you guys know what the actual measurements are right here. I requested a front and rear brake inspection. Customer states that when braking, there is a slight shake and does not know if it is the brakes or the transmission downshifting. Please check and advise. So they said, confirmed brake vibration coming from car, removed all tires and performed rotor lateral runout for all rotors. Results as follows: left front 0.013, right front 0.009, left rear 0.008, right rear 0.006. Max allowable per the Chevy document is 0.002, all rotors above max runout. Now, basically, at first they just told me the front ones were jacked up. This is on the calls. They told me the front ones were jacked up, out of, you know, they were run out, and then they called back and said the rear ones are. So apparently the front rotors on here can be turned, can be kind of resurfaced or turned, but the rears, for whatever reason, cannot. So they had to order brand new rear rotors, have those overnighted in, not from Japan, and then the front ones, they did their turnout, they did their resurfacing to get back in spec. Now, was this covered under warranty? Originally, it sounded, it was tending to not be covered under warranty because they were like, oh, it's brakes, it's wear and tear. But after a little bit of persuasion, talking to the dealership and talking to a couple Chevy representatives, I mean, it was at 2,500 miles on a brand new 2020 Corvette with the Z51 package, and I also bought a warranty on top of it, and I have all these other cars that have better brakes that are fast cars too, and it was just under normal driving conditions. So in my mind, classic warranty repair. There's no reason these brakes should be that, they were way out of spec. You know, the max was 0.013, which is over 6 times the amount, you know, 600% out of spec. So luckily they were repaired under warranty, so I have new rear rotors, I have resurfaced front rotors. Hopefully it lasts, and stay tuned for the comparison video between this, the Grand Sport 2019, and the Chevy Subaru STI S209. Personally, my money, I'm gonna hold my comments until the end of that video, or at least the beginning of the video, but I think you guys are gonna be surprised by that Subaru. That thing stops on a dime, and you toss the tires in there, oh man. I don't have my hopes up for this old girl right here, even though she's the newest one on the block. So honestly, what am I gonna do going forward? Well, the part of me that doesn't want to spend money wants to just keep these brakes as they are and just keep driving them, see if they have problems again, and kind of go from there. But if you're gonna upgrade one thing performance-wise on these C8s, I know a lot of people do exhausts. I know everyone's like, oh, twin turbo. I know everyone's talking about XYZ kind of normal bolt-on stuff. In my mind, you gotta do the brakes first on this, because holy cow, super fast car, okay brakes. That's all I gotta say about it. I would say a big brake kit would make this car an absolute weapon on the track. I've talked to multiple people who've gone to C8 track days. Obviously, all the track day cars are Z51 cars. You know, Chevy wouldn't have you rolling around in a non-Z51 car, not just because they look worse, but the Z51 looks better and it performs better. And they said that by lap 2, the brakes were fading, and they had some Camaro out front of them that wasn't even letting them go full tilt in the C8. So, you know, I get it. This car can't be perfect, especially for this car was $73,000. I mean, it's a heck of a car, heck of a performance car, and I guess people would rather have the speed than the braking. But, you know, I feel like I gotta upgrade it, and I gotta keep my eye on these brakes, because that was just kind of shocking, honestly, especially because Chevy's not even recommending me take the car until 7,500 miles. So let's go ahead, cruise back to the house so that I can start filming this comparison video on the brakes for you guys. Now, here's another good question. We got the 2021 Red Eye coming in. I feel like those brakes are gonna, I mean, those are the big Dodge Brembos. I think they're the 2-piece rotors, 6-piston up front, 4 in the rear, from what I understand. And I've heard pretty much nothing but good things about those brakes. I mean, it is a heavy car, so we'll have to see how the 2021 Red Eye Charger stands up to it, since it is a big boat of a car. Not as much of a boat as a Challenger, but they're cool cars. Mine is coming with the lightweight wheels on it, so maybe that'll help braking as well. The downfall of that Charger, if we test it early, like right when I get it, is going to be the tires, because it's coming with all seasons, whereas this has the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, which is a summer tire. The Corvette Grand Sport has the Continental Extreme Contact Sport tire, which is basically Continental's version of the Pilot Sport 4S. And then the Subaru STI S209 has the Dunlop Sport Maxes on it, which is a pretty not well-known tire, but it is, I think that was my street right there, but that's okay. All right, well, pretty well-known tire, or not well-known tire, but it does really well. We were shredding some back roads in Mexico with that car back when it was bone stock, and I was floored with how literally no tire chirp, and we were taking turns so fast. Like, STIs have no business taking turns that fast, and we were just ripping through them. No squeal from the tires. The brakes were money. So that STI S209 is a sleeper. Once that thing's pushing 500 horsepower, that thing might start walking on this, even though it's a manual. Although hopefully we'll have some stuff done to this somewhat problematic car already. But other than that, I do enjoy this car. Obviously, it's a head turner. Starts a lot of conversations. I love sharing it with people. You know, letting new friends, making new friends, letting them drive it, letting them take their kids for a ride. It is a great time. And I know it might sound like I'm complaining, but I'm just critiquing the stuff that needs to be improved. And hopefully I'll be able to put my money where my mouth is and get a, you know, at least a brake upgrade kit with this. I would say maybe we'll try just doing pads first to see if it's really the pads, or then the next level would obviously be getting aftermarket rotors and then switching over to the big brake kit. But I'm gonna have to check the tolerances on the wheels I'll probably have to go aftermarket wheels for that, because I don't think these front wheels, they're only 19s up front, and it's only 245 width. So I don't think there's much room for bigger calipers or bigger rotors. Better rotors and better pads, yes, but we will see. And I guess we could do fluid, maybe brake lines, depending on, you know, depending on what we think, what kind of brake lines this actually has. I have not looked into the brake lines on this car, so I will have to go ahead and check that out before we go ahead and do that. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode of the Corvette content, because we are going to be putting them to the test performance-wise, and I think it's going to be crazy results. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't signed up for M1 Finance, they're doing 30 bucks for just signing up, and then Weeble's still doing 4 free socks. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. The red eye is coming in soon. Should be here probably end of January, and I'll have it down here in Georgia for your viewing pleasure. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I will see you guys for the next video.